Okay, so like I said, we're moving on to a geometry unit. So I'm on page 587, and we're going to be talking about how are some three-dimensional figures related to circles. So Kenji is training his dog to run through an agility course. One of the activities in the course is the tunnel, an open tube through which the dog runs. A three-dimensional figure with faces that are polygons is called a polyhedron. So what it means by that is, I'll show this shape first. So we've seen this before. This right here, the face of it, is a polygon. So it's a triangle, the face of it. This is also a polyhedron because the face of it is a trapezoid. And this one is kind of a cool little figure. It's also a polyhedron because the face of it right there is a triangle. So those are all polyhedrons. But then there are also three-dimensional figures that are not polyhedrons. Some examples of these are cylinder, cones, and spheres. So this is going to be your cylinder. The face of it right here isn't a shape like that alone, so it's just kind of rounded. It's not a full shape on its own. Then we got our cone and a sphere, which is going to be your ball. All right, so for each figure, list 3 real-world items that represent the figure. So I'm going to minimize this now. So if we are writing some real-world examples of a cylinder, I always think of like a can, so like a food can. What else? I think of like coffee cans. Other than cans, maybe like your oatmeal containers that if you get like oats. So some of like your cups might be, if they don't have, like my coffee cup kind of has like a slant to it, but if you just have a straight up and down cup, those tumblers, I think that's what they're called. Those can be cylinder shaped. A cone, obviously your ice cream cone, that's the first one. A funnel. Oh, and then the book says an orange traffic cone. That's a good one. Okay, so when you think of a sphere, you think of a ball. Whether it's a basketball, a soccer ball, a volleyball, a baseball, a softball, any kind of ball. And then we also have the earth. It's not flat. Oh, and a bubble. That was a good one. So those are all real-world examples that we see. Just as a rectangular prism and a pyramid have bases, a cylinder and a cone have a base as well. What is the shape of the base of a cylinder? So looking at the bottom of our cylinder, you can see that, we have a circle. And if you look at the bottom of our cone, we also have a circle. Step 3, it says interesting shapes can occur when you find the cross sections of a figure that is not a polyhedron. Describe the shape of the figure resulting from a horizontal cross section of each of the following. So I've had a little bit of extra time on my hands, but what it's saying is if I took this sphere, I'm going to erase so if I took this sphere and I cut it right there in the middle of it, this is what I would have, right? I would have a hemisphere. But then what is that shape of that diagonal that I cut? And you can see that it's a circle. And then it's also saying for a cylinder, if I cut it where I cut it directly straight across and I pulled it apart, what shape would I have? And I would have a circle again. And then we also have a cone, which again, if I took this cone and I cut it directly across, I would have a circle. And then with my cone, as I cut more to the top, my circles would get smaller. And then if I cut further down, the circles would obviously get bigger. So on step 3, when we cut those diagonals, each of them had a circle on that green right here. We're showing this green part right there. It would actually cut it and make a circle on all of them. So what your assignment now to do is to flip the page, and you're going to do the same thing that we just talked about. Let's see if I can. We're going to do numbers 1 through 6, and you're going to tell me if you cut right there, what shape would that make on that edge right there? And then same thing, like if I cut this one up and down horizontally, what shape would I have on that green part? Same thing there, 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 and there. Take a picture and submit it to Google Classroom.